they included him obviously because he was part of the Avengers and he had a role in the comics and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't think they were going to concentrate or make him as big of a character until this movie came out, and then like the toys and shit started selling, and like the fandom was like, "Yo, Hawkeye, fucking regular guy, just." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I almost feel like that's what happened. Like that once the following came behind him, then they were like, okay, let's give him more in some of the later movies and stuff like that. Because yeah, they didn't really explain much. They didn't really set him up much. They didn't make him a pivotal character. Like he had few moments, one or two little choice, but maybe that was part of the plan from the get go, just to give just enough things that you're like, this is why he's on the team. This is why he's here.
Yeah,
This is,
Yep.
you
I
know
can
what I
see that.
mean?
Hmm.
But yeah, it almost seemed like he was on the cusp, like they were on the fence of him being kind of an important role or whatnot.
You know who he's kind of like as far as like, because he's not gonna have he has this series, yeah, so he's not gonna have a solo movie. He's kind of like and just I'm just talking about like because you don't, he's like he's kind of like Superman in that sense. And the reason why I say that is because when Superman's Clark Kent, nobody really cares. He's fucking boring. Batman, he's a playboy. He's, you know what I mean. Like there's just something about him. There's that mystique. Fucking Tony Stark, everybody knows. Like everybody knows he's Iron Man for one, but I'm just saying, just in general, like his personality. But for Hawkeye, it's
Hmm.
we only need him here for the missions. Other than that, we don't really give a shit what he's doing. Superman, same thing. We only need him here for the big fights. Other than that, we don't care what he's doing on the side. And it's kind of,
Exactly.
again, completely different. I know people are gonna say they're not just completely different types of characters, but at the same time, and you could throw the Hulk in that. Like, yes, Bruce Banner is good in the Avengers and in those movies, but you don't want a Hulk movie because it wouldn't be, for what? For what?
See,
Even though you enjoy Hulk in these movies a lot, but there's just certain characters that I don't think that they need a movie at all. If they're in a movie with others like the Avengers or in say a Thor movie, Iron Man, so on and so forth, cool. But other than that, they don't need their own. They don't have that big enough grab. They don't have that big enough interest in them, I guess,
you
as
know,
far as their personal lives, so to speak, than everybody else. That's
see,
my opinion.
see, I agree and disagree. Like I would rather watch a Hulk series or a Hawkeye series like we did than just a Hulk movie, for the simple fact that like it brings up a ton of questions about certain aspects of them. Like the Hulk with always trying to battle being angry. Like I said last time, I was like, bro, I want to know if this dude like stubs his toes and then breaks half a building, or if like he's doing something that's supposed to be easy, he can't like get a jar of pickles open or something. And, you know what I mean? Like what does he actually have to battle on the daily basis? Like, oh, I'm out of toothpaste. Like, you know what I mean? Like
All of our
stupid shit.
frustrations.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, how does he control that? Like, shit like that. And then besides that, just human aspects of interactions and other people's
You
fucking stupidity and shit like that that irks people. You know what I mean? Like, how many times a day does this guy have to fight not becoming the Hulk? And then you take somebody
Yeah.
like Hawkeye, who's a trained fucking secret
Assassin,
operative that literally has kind of like a checkered moment in his life also, but then so much shit he's probably done that ain't even on record and can't be on record. Like, I want to know. I want to see all of that
Mhm.
shit. You know what I
The
mean?
Ronin stuff. Yeah.
Besides that too, but just
Yeah.
like his upcoming, and like how did he get so good with a bow? Why did he choose the bow as his weapon? What was the pivotal point that he became that? How did he become part of Shield? Like, I
Yeah.
want to know all these things, and that I think is where you need the room for episodic shit versus, all right, I got hit with a gamma radiation. Now I can't control my shit. I got to learn to
I can
control
see
my
that.
shit.
I can
You know
see
what I
that.
mean? So it's like it's tough. It's tough, especially like Romanoff when we see with the movie with she gets her own movie, but still I think would have been a dope character to see her go through different undercover
Mhm.
situations, and like we see her come out in the one movie, she's tied up to a chair and she's being held hostage, being spoken to in like Ukrainian or Russian or some shit, and like it looks bad for her, and she gets a phone call through the other guy's phone, and it's for her. And then all of a sudden she's like, but do I have to now? Yeah. And then she just completely flips the script, like takes him out of the shit,
Yep.
gets the information
Yep.
she needs, and she bounces. Like, I want to see every mission she's on. Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Mhm.
What established her as being like the top Black Widow of all the Black Widows?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with that.
No, I was just
Could you
thinking.
imagine going back to the Hulk thing? Could you imagine like Bruce Banner being in a car and getting road rage and then
I
just
was gonna say the
busting out of
same
the
Exactly.
car?
But hold up, right? Like say you're going somewhere with your lady and you don't want to be embarrassed Hey, but you know who Bruce Banner is and the Hulk is. You're just like, you know what? Just get back in the car. Tell you like, let's shut up. Get in the car. Let's go. My bad. You
Yep.
talk to me like that. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Because as soon as he gets mad, that's a Hulk. I'm not. That's not
He
real.
has a friend that will be here immediately.
Yes, and I'm not dealing with that. I thought
Yep.
And
you
when
were
I mean immediately, I mean instant.
like, yeah. I
Yep.
thought you weren't afraid of I thought you weren't afraid of any human. Yeah, but the Hulk ain't human. That's different.
Nope. Mm-hmm.
That's different.
So
Like,
now,
I can't even call my boys to jump him.
no. So now, Sturdy, you had brought up Coulson, how you feel like you're more interested in him, and so how did you feel at this point in the movie now, where Coulson dies?
I like at that point you knew is when shit was gonna change. Like, yo, because Coulson was like the dude who just everywhere. He's just everywhere. Everybody loved him. You had your back and forth jokes with Tony, of course, but he still loved him. And then that, like, once that went down, they were just like, yo, we gotta fucking. It was what they. He even said it himself. Basically, he's like, yo, just this is what they need. This is what they need to really bring them together, and it's realistic in the
How
sense
did you
of.
feel about that whole situation with him using Coulson's cards from the locker?
I think it was smart. I think it was smart because it really puts a thing. Because remember when Coulson he interacts with Captain America at one point, I'm a fan of yours. I have cards of yours. And he's like, cards? Like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees them all bloodied up and shit, and it really hits him like, holy shit, this guy really like. Not only was he doing all this shit with no powers at all, he could fight, but no powers and nothing at all. But he's here trying to help save the fucking world, and he's such fans of ours, and make sure that we're okay. So we got to do this for him. We got to do this
Well,
for him.
I think that's the important aspect is that
Yeah.
he was human, and once he died, it almost they put all their egos aside and realized that we're fighting for the human race. He had no powers, and he was willing to stand side by side with us, fighting what we don't really know and what was coming through the portal, and he was willing to stand with us through thick and thin, and he was human. That's who we're fighting for.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's realistic in a sense of that's going to make a lot of people fight. Like someone that that always has your back is just something like that happens to him, and you're just like fuck. And you're one of the people who can fight. You're one of the people who could be a part of this battle. Let's say, you'll be good. Let's go. Fuck this. Fuck this. You took out the wrong person. Fuck it. Like fuck it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They could have taken out like Hill, and it wouldn't have held as much weight as Coulson did.
I don't even honestly, and this is gonna sound crazy. I feel like the same thing about Hawkeye. They could have taken out Hawkeye, and I don't think it would have been as big of an impact.
Shut your mouth.
I really don't.
I really like him. I really like Hawkeye.
Oh, he.
I
do too. But I agree with that.
I'm just going from the build up from this Avengers movie and all the other ones, watching in chronological order. You're not really getting that because we've seen Coulson from, we see him in Iron Man, you see him here and there, Thor's hammer, hammer,
yep,
and all that. So you get that connection with him versus Hawkeye. You really don't get that.
Yep. He had more character development up until that point than Hawkeye did.
He did.
Yeah,
he did
by far,
for sure.
By far.
For sure. I feel like that is the one spot that even though that occurred on the ship or whatnot, when he throws the cards, everybody's having that realization. It's super dope to see that everybody else is still having kind of that moment of reflection and just like, oh shit. At different places, at different times, you got Hulk down on Earth through an abandoned building. You got Thor going to find his hammer. He's pissed, and you can tell like it hit him, and he didn't even get to that point yet of that realization or that situation. You know what I mean? So it's cool to also see people thinking differently, but still on the same line and still understanding the gravity of the situation. Without having the same catalyst to get them there. You know what I mean? They all didn't need to see, the cards from Coulson. They're all going through and have their own different thought processes and what they're dealing with, and then how they're all coping with what the fuck just happened, which was essentially they got the shit kicked out of them. Like they got their asses handed. So it's super dope. And then you see the shit with this is where you really get the development of Hawkeye, where he's a little bit more humanized, where he's in the recovery thing, and he's like, "Fuck, I did what?"
Then he asked how many agents, and she was like,
"Yeah, don't. We're not gonna go there. It wasn't you. You know what I mean?" But still, to the person, it's Whether you're in a war situation or not, it's like, yo, I still did this. I still had to do this. You know what I mean? But this is a situation where you were completely out of control. Like, you know what I mean? Like, God forbid they come up with actual like brain control shit, which they say there is shit out there and has been used many a times for different things. But um, yeah, it's just dope to see like that connection between him and Romanoff. You know, their best friend shit. This is really the first time you really get to see their whole best friend thing, which you still question like, did they have something, did they not? And then you find out later he's got a family and all this other stuff, so it's like but yeah,
Yeah,
these
there's
these
a
are
lot
these
of questions.
moments. Yeah, these are those moments where I think things happen on screen with the action and all that stuff, and then these cooldowns that lets you kind of absorb and then show like consequence and show the human aspect of it. Because nobody ever stops to think for real, which these movies tend to point out at sometimes just how destructive a hero is. Like,
Oh yeah,
like, yo, we're trying to save the world, but we fuck some shit up in the process. My bad. It's what had to happen. Like, we couldn't control how this was going down, but we took care of that for you. And then you got to come up with the shit that happens with the Accords and all that shit. Well, since you fucking destroyed half these cities in the process of you fucking saving us all, it's like, yo, you can't have your cake and eat it too, no matter what. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, then you had the cleanup crew from Spider-Man: Homecoming too, when they were cleaning up all that stuff. They're still cleaning it up.
It's true. It's true. Ah, this, and then this is where you really start to get the dynamic between uh Tony Stark and
Oh yeah.
Captain America.
Yep.
And where, I mean, they set it up that way where these two are always like looking at each other and talking to each other. So they're like the alphas of the group. So they're like commander and assistant commander, but they're no one knows who's the actual commander.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody knows who's the actual fucking leader. Which, I mean, I guess it's arguable, right?
What it is, I was gonna with that because like there's times where Captain will take Tony's lead. There's sometimes where Tony will just take his lead. And people are more surprised when Tony lets somebody else take the lead. They're just like, "What the fuck? Like you cocky egomaniac! You're gonna let somebody else take the lead?"
And that's where it's kind of cool because they show like there ain't no I in team type situation, right? But at the same time, there's still the dynamic of the power struggle occurring, even though they're still fighting on the same sides. And then this comes out really big into play in Winter Soldier and in Civil War and stuff like that. But still, it's like, so Chuck, who would you say is the leader of? Would you say there's even a single leader of the Avengers? You're muted.
Can't hear you.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, good. At this point,
Yep.
I think that going into it, I think that Nick Fury wanted kind of Cap and Iron Man to kind of figure that out between the two of them and who it was going to be, especially when it came down to the turbine breaking and everything like that. Them stepping up and I think that it was perfectly done in the fact that by the end it looks like Cap becomes the leader, but Tony is the like we said, the bankroll and the hero of it when push comes to shove, and he goes up and takes care of that business up at the portal, and then comes back down. I think that that leads up to what happens in Infinity War and Endgame, and the whole dream sequence that he has. I think that the responsibility of the leader of the Avengers has always been split between Cap and Iron Man.
Which is kind of dope, so that there's not just one and they can play off each other, but there's still always that headbutt. You know what I mean? But that's life. That's what happens with people's egos and their separate mentalities and stuff like that.
Well, even with the Accords and Civil War, you kind of look at both of their perspectives and realize that they're both right. There is no wrong side to that Civil War. It's unfortunate that it has to come down to these superheroes and how they believe in it and what the government is expecting from the superheroes. But both of them, are right in every regard. And at that time, I thought it was great with marketing. It's like Team Iron Man or Team Cap, but that really shows that both of them were truly the leaders of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But then we always got to remember there's always somebody up above that's just looking down, and that's the Nick Fury. You know what I mean? That's the Nick Fury.
Yep.
He's the actual puppet master, and he displays that here with the cards, with the shit with Coulson.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, listen, you guys are here, but I'm gonna do something to make this occur or get you guys to do this. There's always that one overseer, that one manipulator, and it's always Big Brother or some capacity. It's the eye in the sky. In this case, it's literally them flying in the sky. It's their fucking, their whole hella fucking thing.
Nick Fury's such a great character, though.
He is. I think Samuel Jackson does a great job. Great job as Nick Fury
I agree.
in these movies. Like it's super dope. What's that?
I don't know what happened.
Your snap camera fucked up.
It did.
Were you wearing something tonight?
I had the Thor thing going. It's just because I have a background.
Gotcha.
Well,
oh, that's a filter from Snapchat?
I don't know. I use the thingy Snapcam on here.
That's
I don't know
awesome.
if it's from
Snapchat or what. I keep forgetting to get that so I can be different superheroes and different people and villains and shit. But I'm trying to think. So Nick Fury, fucking Samuel L. Jackson. I think he does such a great job in this role, especially for the facts of like what we know Sam Jackson to be, either some type of a rowdy dude or super serious, like motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like the stereotypical type shit that he did for so long. And then we've had other examples of him doing different things in movies, but this one is the most consistent. This is the most, like, even him as Mace Windu, that was a little bit out of place, but at the same time it worked, and he did all right with it. But that wasn't completely his fault either in that whole series. The writing and shit like that was just a little bit off in those Star Wars, but yeah, neither here nor there. But for him to take this role, be in it for so long, keep so consistent, age over time, and just still. I say it all the time. He's one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood and unappreciated. For tons of different things. You know what I mean? So he's dynamic. As much as you can say, well, he's no Denzel, he's no this, that, or the third. That's okay. Again, just like the lower scale of these Marvel movies, that does not take away from how great he is.
Oh yeah,
he is great.
He's amazing.
There's some fun fact about Samuel L. Jackson is that he's been in the most grossing movies of all time. He's been in, how do I put this? It's like if they took the actors and how much each one of their movies made, he stands alone in being the top actor that's grossed the most money, because he's been in most of the, a good amount of these Marvel movies, but take it that, he's been in so many other franchises. He's been around for so long, been in some cult classics like Pulp Fiction and a whole bunch of other different things. Like it's fucking... that truly takes what you said, Chris, and puts into perspective of how underrated he is. If he's been in this many movies, grossing that much money,
and he
should have at least a few
the ultimate accolade of a movie actor, of a movie star. Like it's annoying to me. It frustrates me, but at the same time, Sam knows, because of his pockets and the shit he does and what the numbers generate, he's obviously loved. He's obviously a fan favorite. You know what I mean?
People love him. People like the commercials they have of him with the swearing and all that.
Yeah.
When they were yelling at him because like, my kid watched your movie and blah blah blah. And he's like, you let your kid watch this movie? Like,
right?
You.
If you were going to make a remake of Shaft, who else would you have casted?
Yeah.
Like, he was perfect.
Yeah.
He's great. And then he's an amazing Nick Fury. And he has a presence about him. Like, if the movie needs to be serious, like if he has to have serious moments in this, he's serious. If he has to be funny in this, he's funny. If he has to be like that authoritative figure, he could be all of that in one fucking like role, one scene. He could do all that.
Super dope, because as these movies came out, obviously they were staggered. Well, not obviously. In case you don't know, Marvel set them all out in different phases of like 4 to 6 movies at a time over, 10 years or whatever it is. But they were all jumbled in where they were placed in the timeline when they were being released. So you take him as Nick Fury when stuff like this or this movie and all this comes out, the first phase or second phase or whatnot. And then you got later on in the last phase, Captain Marvel comes out, and then he's playing himself as a younger version of Nick Fury with a lighter heart, with a little bit more of a vitality to him that's not as harsher or calloused because of his experiences in Shield and him rising through the ranks of Shield. So it's super dope. Like literally, this guy has made himself Nick Fury for the last 15, 18 years. So it's crazy to see that even later in time, as these all came out and he's got popularity for playing the character, they can then make him go back and he can fit the bill for being like, yo, you're still playing this character, but give me 20 years earlier, give me 25 years earlier, and he even played off the whole like, I'm not as like so space lady, like, you know what I mean, like, where are you from? Like, oh, okay, we're looking for somebody who's dressed for laser tag, the shit with the cat.
Yeah. Oh, the cat had me dying. Oh, kitty, because you don't expect it to be like that at all. It was like that's not even Nick Fury. That was just Sam Jackson in general. It's like, oh, look at the kitty. I was like, what the hell? I was dying. I first see. I was like, what the hell?
Oh, I love how they teased, like, during Captain Marvel, everything about Nick Fury's eye and like how it was going to go down. Like, I loved how they did that, and they could only do that if they brought it back to him being young.
Yep. And then, like, I don't know if you know this or not, but I brought it up when we were doing Captain Marvel. But the whole scene where they got the scroll body on the table in the autopsy room, and fucking him and Coulson are talking about it, and then like Coulson leaves or whatever, or him and the doc, and then he just lifts the blanket up to look underneath, and he's like, huh, like, and that was ad libbed. He just did that in the moment, and it stuck, and they kept it in the film, like. That's the shit that comes with experience. That's the shit that comes from somebody who's just comfortable enough to be like, I got this. You know what I mean? And just like, all right, well.
And that's the perfect thing about all of the Marvel castings that they do is that they bring in, first and foremost, they bring in like great names to take on these characters and then give them the leeway of being able to ad lib and improv and do whatever, like you were just saying, or like Robert Downey Jr. adding in a few lines, or whatever it may be. It's like you got the actors that you wanted, and you know that they can do this. That let them make the character, and that's exactly what Samuel L. Jackson does. Is he makes that character, and he like those subtleties. Those subtleties are what gives the whole stability of the character. You wouldn't believe it if he didn't have those little subtleties.
Yeah, you get more of a personality, you get more of a feel of an understanding of them, of what kind of person they are as a person, you know what I mean? Because everybody, when you're in battle mode, you're in war mode, you're strategizing, you're doing what you got to do, you're inflicting damage, you're watching your back. But then when you got the dialogue and the interactions, or just moments where it's chill for a minute, and then you see somebody do something that's normal, or like, you know what I mean, like, because
the comic relief of it too.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It just chills you for a minute, it lets you breathe, and then it also gives you a little bit more into the sight of, all right, they chill, they're human, they have other emotions, and like, you know what I mean, like serious when you need to be serious, but they do a great job. And again, I bring it up pretty much almost every episode. Like half of these characters and half of these the character castings, they were like not really all that known. They were semi up and coming for some of them, and some of them were just, they did the casting, they played the role, they looked decent enough to close to the character, as far as the source material, and they do a great job, and that's one of the reasons why I like Hawkeye, because, his look, the cowlick, the eyes, all that shit, it's like, it's as close to a real life rendition of Hawkeye that you can get. You got Chris Evans, who had to like transform himself for Captain America and actually become this character. Not for nothing, like he just sold it. I mean, from the rip, even the CGI little guy before he became Cap, he's acting and they're CGIing him on top of it, but he just sold it. Like they just do it. Gosh, she's so fine. Anyway,
and we're really lucky in the fact that Kevin Feige and everyone was willing to give Chris Evans a second shot at a different character coming off of Fantastic Four, there would have been question on whether or not, you know, that could happen, and he nailed it, you know.
Mhm.
And you have certain other situations with the casting, like for me, for like Jeremy Renner, right, as Hawkeye. Up until this movie, and even a little bit of the beginning of this movie, I feel like Jeremy Renner was like typecast as a bad guy in every single movie that he was in at that point, you know? And it was like, I just wanted something to like him in. And by the end of this movie, you like Jeremy Renner, and going forward, you love Jeremy Renner, and now you look at Jeremy Renner as an actor totally differently than like prior to when he was like in SWAT and like all this other stuff where he was like always the bad guy. You know, he's the bad guy in the house, even in a comedy. But it was like finally you got something where you could get behind him. And that was one of the other reasons why I love the casting of Jeremy Renner.
And I can't wait for you, Sturdy, to see Hawkeye, the series, because it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
He is so human. He is so human in that. It's so great. It really, like, it was probably, it's hard to say this, but I can't believe I'm about to say it. Hawkeye, out of all the TV Disney Plus series so far, was my favorite. And I liked all of them. And Loki is really important.
Right.
Like really, really important. But Hawkeye was still my favorite.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that 100%. For sure. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to see it because it's so good. It's so good. And it's again, dives back into the humanality of it because it's super easy to see, you know, the serum generated Captain America go beat the shit out of things, get his ass kicked, be out of breath, but then he's all right. He's back too. Like, he doesn't need that downtime. He doesn't need the recovery time. He doesn't need, you know what I mean? Iron Man, he can get fucked up, and even though he's bruised and he's fucked up, the damage is still not as bad as, because the suit takes the brunt of it. Hulk gets fucked up, and once he's back to human, he's not broken. He's not battered and beaten. You know, fucking Thor's Thor. There's no way to fucking hurt Thor without hurting Thor like kaputty. Like, you can fuck him up, you can beat him up, he'll go down, he'll take a break, and then he still has his power. He can still shoot electricity. He still has his hammer. But you fuck up Jeremy Renner or Black Widow, these motherfuckers need a week. Like, they get broken ribs. Guess what? They're fighting in the next scene, and it still hurts. Like, you know what I mean? They still have to be fucking on top of the game amazingly while still being fucked up. There ain't no time for them to be like, I'm good. Like, nope, I just gotta go. Like, it is what it is. And then as soon as that shit's all done, stitch me up, because they bleed, they're human, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, fuck, I need a minute. Like, I need a minute. And I love that. I love that.
And I think the thing that happened in Hawkeye, when you watch it without giving anything too much away, is that, you know, there becomes a fanhood for Hawkeye because he's human and everyone can relate to him. And going right into the first episode, he essentially creates Kate Bishop. He, because of certain things that happened in this movie and the fight that happens in New York City, it creates the inspiration for Kate Bishop to do what she does.
Okay. I'll check it out.
It's amazing.
I'm down there more, but I'll definitely check it out.
I'm glad also they kind of got back to a little bit more of the original feel for his costume from the comic books. Like you said, they do a good job at coming back to it. So, yeah, in the Hawkeye series, it definitely looks more like the comic book Hawkeye, with the purple being more prominent and the black and stuff like that.
That's good.
Yep.
Like, I agree. I would love to see a fucking Ronin series, man. Like a short mini series of him as Ronin and just fucking not giving a shit. It's just like when Batman loses his shit. Like, once Batman fucking, like, year one or whatever, goes crazy and just starts hacking people or shooting people, like, I would love to see that as a series or a movie. And then get him back to the road of his righteousness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yo, fucking Hawkeye went, no shit. Didn't give a fuck.
I mean, think about that too. Like the scene when, you know, in Infinity War where I think it opens Infinity War if I'm not mistaken, but you know, he's out in the lawn barbecuing with his family, and then they're just
gone.
And it's like, I can only imagine. And you're right. I want that time period. I want the time period from his family disappearing and him being by himself to, pretty much Black Widow stopping him and be like, we got a plan. We got a plan to get your family back. I want all of that time of Ronin.
Seriously. Hopefully. Are they going to do another Hawkeye series or no? Is this it? Are they going to do another season?
I'm not sure. I would have to look into it. I know that there's rumors of there being a season 2 of Hawkeye, but I don't know if anything's confirmed yet.
I would absolutely love that.
So would I.
He's a badass. The no look fucking shots, the fucking his toys in there, and that's the they stretch it a little bit because it's movie, right? It seems like he never runs out of fucking ammo till he runs out of ammo, and they make it a point to show that he's out of ammo. He has to figure something out and go grab another one from somewhere or something. But
yeah,
his gadgets are gotta be the best. Like, and honestly, he's the only one with gadgets. Because not even Romanoff uses gadgets. She just uses bullets and guns and her fists. She's super talented of a fighter and fucking martial artist.
Yeah.
She's
such a manipulator.
Brain power. Exactly. She's got the manipulation and the brain power. She's adaptive in every situation. This dude has...
Let's take into consideration that she definitely is probably one of the only people that one-ups Loki. Like, she was able to get out of Loki why he was on the helipad and everything like that.
Yep.
No one else could do that. He's the Prince of Mischief. If anyone was going to one-up him or get one past him, it was going to be her.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even make that realization, but yeah. Oh.
That's very true.
She's genius.
She's so good. She's so fine in that suit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Fucking. God, now you got.
Well, the other thing I was going to say about Loki in this movie that I thought was interesting too is that we didn't have the Dark World until after this Avengers movie, and in the Dark World is when we find out that Loki is an Ice King, or an Ice an Ice King, or Ice Giant, an Ice Giant, and in this movie when he's in the cell and Black Widow's talking to him, there's a little screen that shows all the heat that's coming out of that room and everything, and it so happens to be that Loki is not producing any heat at all. So that was the first indication to us that he was an ice beast or ice giant.
They didn't say it in the first Thor when Odin revealed that he was stolen from during the battle.
No, they did.
I thought that all came down in the Dark World, didn't it? I thought that part came out in the Dark World.
They said they did mention it in Thor, but I guess if you're going by when the movies came out, this came out before Thor, right?
No, Thor would have came out first.
Thor came out first because at the end of Thor it says Thor will return in Avengers, and then this came out after later. Yeah. But yeah, now I gotta go back. I could have sworn. Well, maybe you're right. I'll double check though. But either way. But
even so, but they show him not giving off any heat.
Right. That's the thing that's super dope about shit like that. There's all these little things that even if you can not just focus on the dialogue or the imagery in front of you of the people's interactions, there's things around on the screen that are occurring that are helping the story as well. So if you catch those, you go back and you see certain things. Like I kept saying, I'm waiting to see when we get back later in the series to a certain moment to see if a character re-shows itself. Basically, I'm looking for the cat. So I think you know what I'm talking about. So once we get to that point in space again where we can see where there's a bunch of different things, I'm going to see if I see that cat in some type of a pod or something, or in a cage or something.
Or in the collector's office, in the collector's.
Yep, exactly.
The Flurkin.
Yeah. God, that's so good. Fuck. So we got these guys going through here. They're beating shit up. They got these Shitaris that they're just finally ripping apart, taking out one by one, knocking shit out of the sky. They're in office buildings. They're going through, and then they finally win, and we get started on this whole next wave of the Marvel movies and all this other shit. What do you guys
Great
think?
Start.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? I don't have my thing on me. I do. What's the next movie in the list that's coming? Is it Thor Ragnarok or Thor Dark World?
Dark World, I think.
I just know it's a Thor movie. I don't remember which one. So besides,
because Ragnarok's the third one. So we got the one shot coming next. That's going to be item number 47, which I'm looking forward to seeing that next. Then it's Thor Dark World. Then it's Iron Man 3. Okay, so then the next time we're going to be... Shit, we got... It's not until May that we get the second Avengers movie. So we got one...
There was a rather big gap.
3, 4, 5. We got 5 more installments of the Midnight Matinee, plus a couple bonus episodes for you guys on the one-shots before we get back to seeing all of these guys on the screen at the same time. That's nuts. And now if you think about that, it's what? 2 years of movies being put out, give or take, before that happens again? They've done such a good job at these. Such a good job at these.
Oh,
I still remember thinking in between that time, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait that long for Age of Ultron. I need another Avengers movie. And now we're sitting here just like, after Infinity War, Endgame, what I consider Avengers 2.0 and Civil War. And you're just like, we got lucky with so many of these movies having so many, either cameos or just, collaborating on the casts from these movies that we have been really spoiled with what they've done and how they put it together.
No, absolutely. See, and that's the thing that's crazy too, is that even though they came out in different progressions for the timeline, like it took us a while to be able to see some of these things, and see these people get back on the screen together. But now if you watch them in chronological order, it's like it doesn't miss a beat, it doesn't miss a step. This is so fucking good. So good.
It really is.
Great.
It is.
What other franchise do you know of that like we're just talking about, where you could have watched it in release date, or you can go back and watch it in chronological order, other than maybe Star Wars?
The Conjuring.
Lord of the Rings, maybe.
If you're in the horror, the Conjuring universe with Annabelle and all those movies, they connect, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But what other? There's never gonna be another franchise that has just movies alone over 20 movies, just movies alone that connect the way that these do, and so well and do so. But I don't think that's ever gonna be done again.
No.
Which kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. It'd be cool to see that again, but
they're not stopping, so at least they keep on going.
They already have 20 years worth of fucking more material that they're staging and planning. I mean, there's like another 30 movies and series that they're already talking about for these next phases over the next like 5-8 years. Like it's nuts.
Yeah, because let's take into perspective that when this Avengers movie came out that we're talking about, they did not acquire Fox yet at all. Correct. And they did not have the rights to Spider-Man at the time. They did not have rights to any of the X-Men and anything that was being generated from Fox or Sony. And because of certain situations that happened with Fox and Sony, we were able to then put together the whole Marvel comic book character catalog pretty much back together. And now we have, because of that, we have material that can go on forever.
Yeah.
Pretty much. God damn.
Like, because at this point at the time, like I at least I know as a fan, I was sitting here being like, this is awesome. I can't believe how awesome this is. But we'll never have a movie with Spider-Man in it. We'll never have a movie with Wolverine and the X-Men in it. And then come almost 5 or 6 years down the line, we because of, certain situations that happen, Disney getting bought up, or, Disney buying Marvel, and then, certain situations happening with those companies, which, leaves it available for Spider-Man and the X-Men to then get bought out and come over. Mm-hmm. It was definitely something that blew up the cinematic universe more than any movie has. There's so much more catalog now than when this movie came out.
I'm really glad that Sony was able to fucking be smart enough to realize just how big of an impact this was, even though they still hold in the fucking ranks and still hold in the legal shit for Spider-Man and all that shit. But at the same time, they're smart enough to realize that, hey, if we don't work right now with these people and we don't capitalize on this, we're gonna miss the biggest opportunity probably in history of our organization from here probably forever that could be.
Yep.
And now they finally got it dialed in where even with the newer movies that they made with Tom Holland, now it all coincides. Now it all in lines. The last one, Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking
Up there with Infinity War and Endgame.
Bro, it is so tough. I was just talking yesterday to one of my peoples, and it's like, he was like, bro, honestly, it's my favorite out of any Marvel movie at this up to this point. And
It's
I'm
up
like,
there.
fuck. I'm like, like I want to say that, but I can't say that because there's a few others that fall like right in line. But honestly, the entire movie from beginning to end is a nonstop joy. It is a nonstop fucking. It again, the way they're capitalizing on the way they tell a story, the way they're infusing and evoking emotions, the way they're getting people to smile and be sad and have gasp moments and just like it's fucking art, bro. It is fucking priceless. Like, and I keep saying this. This is the pinnacle, and this needs to be the reference for anybody who wants to be in the film industry from here on out. This is how you fucking tell a story. This is how you captivate. This is how you make legacy. This is how you keep people engaged and make sure they engage those around them and other people that they bring into this world and their family, and they make them fans, and it's able to support their statements and keep that new generation and the next generation. This is fucking phenomenal. Sturdy, if you haven't seen that Spider-Man movie,
I didn't watch it yet, but I will.
Oh my!
But that's the thing too. Maybe not yet. Your wife may hate me for this, but maybe not yet because we're doing this because it falls in line of the timeline of the universe. And for some reason, Marvel and Disney have not added the first two with Tom Holland onto their timeline schedule yet. So I don't know what they're waiting for that because there's still pieces of that coincide and relate back.
Yeah.
But they haven't officially made it part of their timeline in the timeline yet on the app. But telling you No Way Home is just like there's so many things and so many not beats that aren't missing that just keep going, and it just like it does so many things. Like Shang-Chi was a good feel of the like I consider that the torch passing. To me, it's the torch and the relay. It's like, hey, new phase, the Avengers is gonna be different, everything's gonna be different, new generation, take this and do what you gotta do with it. But then Spider-Man No Way Home is like, fuck just that. It's not just the new generation that's ripping. We got you too. We know you here. Come on, bring it in. Bring it in. We got all of you from the last 20 years. Come on. Come on. This is for everybody. Not just the new people. This is everybody. And then watching the trailers for fucking Dark Strange or Doctor Strange, the next Doctor Strange movie, the fucking Multiverse of Madness.
When they have already announced, this is the thing that I find crazy about Marvel, that they have confirmed that the Illuminati will be in this. And if they're confirming that, then and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, that would be huge in any other circumstance of them talking about anything. But if they're already just giving us this and they're confirming it officially, then what else is in this movie that they haven't confirmed yet?
And
that's huge.
And the what if segments fucking like, I thought that was it. I thought that's where it was going to end for all the next surprises, and that was the setup for all this shit. But then after watching Spider-Man and then watching these trailers for fucking Doctor Strange, I'm like, it's like, the only way I can put this is like, everything you know in life is completely wrong. You're about to be enlightened, and you're about to be just fucking the world is flat. It's not actually round. Like, forget everything you ever learned or were ever taught. Everything you ever thought it's the opposite, and you're about to be shown the truth. Like,
wait till you realize what the eternal timeline is.
It's nuts, man. And then fucking the end of Loki. Like, I was like, okay. So now I'm connecting dots before certain things occur, and now like it just makes me want to watch so much more of these next. I can't wait. We could argue.
Yeah, we can argue that what happens at the end of Loki is probably one of the most important things that's ever happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including the attack from Thanos, or Thanos being teased for God knows how long. It is as big, if not bigger, than the introduction of Thanos.
But then you throw in also the end of What If with the Watcher and what happens in the fucking time zone or whatever. And then you throw in that, and then you look at multiverse that's coming.
Yep. Like I'm almost convinced that we're going to see the Supreme Ultron.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, bro, and this shit's crazy to think too because I'm fucking 35, and
I'm
what
41. I
I'm
just turned 41 2 weeks ago.
and I'm super excited. We're over here super excited for the next like
Yep.
15 years, 20 years of our life because of some Marvel movies and some
Hey,
shows
you got
that's
Yep.
something
about
to
to
look
come
forward to.
down.
Something to live
But
for.
I also think a lot of that and a lot of the excitement too is that we were grown up on theaters, and
Yeah.
especially because of COVID and how streaming services has taken it and everything. I think that we have a little bit more giddy or a little bit more excitement than some of some of the younger generations, because they're like, oh yeah, it'll be streaming soon.
Yeah,
Us, we're like, I'm the first one to go to the theater on the first day or the preview day beforehand because I'm too afraid of people ruining it for me. Like, I'm afraid that the next day it's going to be covered in social media what's going on, and I don't want that to happen to me. So I
yeah.
get excited about it just as much as you do. It's
Absolutely.
crazy.
Like these are ticket sellers for sure. And these are those things that like if need be, if I look at the schedule and I'm like, yo, every like 3 to 6 months for the next like 4 years, we're gonna have some type of a Marvel release that starts.
Yeah.
Then guess what? I'm probably gonna end up buying some type of a fucking subscription to a theater or something where I pay the one price a month and I'm gonna go and watch these movies and I'll get a couple movies in on the fillers to get my extra money's worth. But honestly, it pays for itself in just these Marvel movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm not ashamed to admit this. Every Marvel movie that has come out, I have seen in the theaters at least 2 or 3 times.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That's awesome.
Every single one of them.
That's awesome. See, and that's why you're here.
Hmm.
And that's
I
why.
love I love the theater experience though. Like the first time, so I hope I'm not ruining this for anyone, but when we're talking Endgame, like I don't think that I've talked about this every time I talk to somebody about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and like movie theater experience.
Uh-huh.
I have never been in a movie theater for any movie that people started getting up and cheering like we were at a sporting event. Like when Cap gets the hammer, the whole theater was screaming and cheering. Like I was expecting to see signs that we were at a WWE event because of how loud it got.
Oh shit.
Or
That's
or
awesome.
You're
like
the
when
best,
when you
Cap.
hear, yes, screaming, and then like you when like you hear Sam say Cap on your left
Yeah.
at an end game, people lost their shit over that. When I was at Spider-Man No Way Home towards the end, not to give anything away at the end, women were crying. Like it was crazy how much these affect us,
Yep.
because honestly, if you look at superheroes, be it DC or Marvel, right?
Yep.
If you think about it, they are our generation's gods. They are our, Zeus and Athena
Yep.
and,
Yeah.
Odin and Thor and Loki directly, specifically.
Seriously.
But, back then, the gods were their comic books. They were what you strive
Yeah.
to be. That was the perfection. And now we have in our generation comic books that project the moral compass that that's the most important thing about
Right.
superheroes is the moral compass
Yep.
Hmm.
and how they can relate to being human, and that's where those are our modern gods.
Would you? Okay,
True.
I got a
True
question for
statement.
both of you guys. Would you guys say that, besides the fact that they're good movies, but another really good thing about these films is that they're basically the ultimate family film? If you really think
Yeah.
about it, 'cause kids love the Avengers. Us as adults love the Avengers. I mentioned my wife. I know there's a lot of women that love these type of films, and there's not like too much stuff to where you can't take, say, like your 6, 7 year old to the movies with you to watch, as long as they can sit long enough. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
to go watch these movies, or even just to watch them on Disney Plus at home with your kids, just like, hey, we're gonna watch these movies. Whenever you guys decide to watch them for whatever reason, like say, hey, this is your guys' summer vacation. Guess what? Every single day, when after dinner and stuff, we're gonna get together. We're gonna sit in the living room. We're all gonna just watch these movies every single day because you guys don't have school. We're gonna watch them when I get out of work, say around like 6 o'clock. Boom, we're gonna just watch every single day. We're gonna watch a movie, and I can't think. I know there's other movies, but there's other quote unquote family movies where everybody's not really into it. You know what I mean? Like the family type of movie where but for these, I'm not gonna say everybody likes them, but of course, if you're fans of these, usually your whole household is. I'll say that.
Pretty
Like,
much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
It
perfect
has
movie
a
for a family.
character that they enjoy that they'll watch
Yeah.
it for. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'll give you a great example when rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman when he died. Like it was sad seeing like all these little kids being very upset. Like that was their superhero that died when they had like their toys lined up with Black Panther laying down in the middle. You've seen that all over
Yeah.
Facebook and all this other stuff. And like even my nephew's 7, he took it hard. Or he's 8 now, but he took it hard.
Yeah.
And I'm just
And you know, much respect to Chadwick Boseman too, because you know, being such a public figure, and not only the Black Panther role, but taking on Jackie,
Yep.
you know, Jackie or
Robinson.
taking on Jackie
Yep.
Robinson, taking on James Brown,
Yep.
taking on these iconic roles, and being that famous so quickly, and going through cancer unbeknownst to everybody because
Yep.
you only kept it within your inner circle. It was a shock to everybody. It was something that I totally respect in the fact that
Mhm.
he was that famous and was able to keep it under that much wrap. Like
Yeah.
how hard was that have to have been on him and his family and everyone that supported him in, you know, keeping that wish for him, is that you wouldn't let that go. Because
Mhm.
if we knew, could we be looking at Black Panther the same way? Could we be looking at some of these other roles the same way?
It's tough. It's tough. Maybe if we knew, would you put him on a higher pedestal? Like if we knew then, because he knocked them roles out of the fucking park. And
I
they did
think that
all of that.
I think that we were robbed of a well, I shouldn't say we were robbed, because you know that's almost like a selfish kind of feeling at that point when you're saying we were robbed. But you know, the one thing we were lucky enough to see was him performing from the beginning of his career to the end of his career, because he was a very, very talented actor that got taken too early,
Way
and
too.
we
Yeah.
you know, way too soon, but made such an impact with the characters that he took on and the performances that he did for the short amount of time that he was
Yeah.
you know, an actor. He changed the game.
He did.
Absolutely.
Changed the
He
game.
did. And his last thing I'll say about that too is like for him being a minority, those roles are so important. Like just him
Yeah.
being black, not even the other iconic roles, but just him being Black Panther. Because as a little kid, you don't see too many heroes that look like you. So and then once you finally, it's like I love that the kids got to see that and be proud. And that's not just for black, because there's white kids love Black Panther, all that dressed up as Black Panther. But it was
Mhm.
cool for them to be able to see that and just be like, this is fucking awesome. Like that guy looks like hey, that guy looks like me. Like instead of seeing all the other shit,
And
usually
that
villain and all the other kind of underlying roles. He wasn't like a hero to where like he's like jokey, like he was serious. He was like a honest, honorable person to kind of
Mhm.
look up and look into. Kind of like he had like the technology and the smarts of like a Tony Stark / Bruce Wayne, but he had like the heart of like a Captain America in a sense.
Yeah.
Black Panther,
Yep.
like the heart and the mindset of a Captain America. Like he wasn't this cocky, brash, which he could have been easily, but he was the complete opposite of that. It was all about the people and his
Humble.
people. Very,
Very humble.
He could have been a Thor.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Think about all that.
that's the other perspective I was getting at too, and I think I can, by what you were just saying, I think I can project it in a little bit different light too. Is that, you know, if he was going through all of this cancer treatment and everything like that, and he knew that that Black Panther role was going to react and for the Black community the way it did,
Mm-hmm.
how that must have been so hard to know that you were going to take on this role, you were going to be looked upon, and people were going to say, now that's us, that's our kind of superhero, that's someone that I can relate to,
Yes.
while knowing that you're probably not going to be able to pull that role off again.
Yes.
Like
Unfortunately.
that's the hard thing.
Unfortunately, because like when he died, I was just like, what the fuck? What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
And
a
then-
shock
Mhm.
to everybody.
Fucking cancer. Fuck cancer, man.
Yep.
But shit,
Yeah.
that was whew. I was like, damn. And that's
Cancer
actually
does
one
not discriminate.
that
No.
does not. And that's one of the movies that I did see in theaters with the wife. Like I was awake through the whole time. Like, oh, this is fucking awesome. And it was cool. Like I know people are getting annoyed by it. Like when people are dressing up, you know, in the African gear and all. I'm like, it's awesome. People do it for any other type of film, and you guys are getting upset about it. And they're like, oh, but they're taking. I'm like, why are they taking it too far?
They're not taking it too far.
They're doing it. It makes them feel good.
Yeah.
It's prideful.
Exactly.
And it's fucking awesome, amazing movie. And people just,
Mhm.
I'm just like, yo, shut up. They're not. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's tearing up. They're going to see a movie and being happy. about it. And that movie
Yep.
grossed so much fucking money, which was great.
Oh, so much.
Yeah,
There
we
was
all.
this thing, this video I saw with Chadwick Boseman where they were catching people coming out of the theater for the first time watching Black Panther, and then he would come out of the curtain and
Yep.
surprise them.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people called him their king and did the chest pump and did all that. Like, they looked at him as being the next person that was taking that torch.
Yeah.
And inside he knew that he had to be as supportive to them and what they believed and what brought that movie, how they felt about that movie, underlining everything with
Yeah.
he knew he was passing.
Mm-hmm.
Being sick, because it's a thing, like you said, it sucks that he passed and he went too soon. Of course we all wish we could have him, not just for the movies, but for his family and all that stuff, of course, the important stuff. But it's just like it's one of those things. It's like, would you be honorable? And I don't even want to say honorable though, because that might be the wrong thing to say. But could you do that? Like being that,
No.
you know what I mean? Like
Nope.
knowing that this is like, because it makes you look at him so much more. It makes you look at him like the real life version of the Black Panther. Like the character of Black Panther would be doing that same shit. Like no matter what's going on with me, my sickness, whatever the case may be,
There's things that are greater than me.
That's not important. Everybody else is. Like everybody else needs to be happy. Everybody else needs to be taken care of, and that's basically what he did for us. And then,
Yep.
yeah,
it makes me wonder too, because like you say, his rise in stardom was just like so rocket ship. Like, do you think that's where, like, he made that conscious decision to like put his energy and his power into making sure that he does these things at such a great level that he leaves his shit before he goes? Like, is that the reason why he is the Chad Boseman that we know and love, because of these characters that he did? And that was the defining moment for him. Like, fuck, I got something that's gonna take me out regardless. I need to start doing what I gotta do now.
I gotta leave a legacy.
I think that was a big part of it. I think that was a huge part of it.
And he took on prominent roles too, like you said. He took on very prominent roles. It wasn't just like a side character here, a side character. Like, no, he took on some very important roles. And I mean, even though it's not a real movie or like a real life event, but the Black Panther one was probably one that touched more than all of his other films. No disrespect, but just because, again, I was saying how these movies are like the ultimate family film. So just think of all the men, women, and children, families that went to go see this movie, and then those same families that mourned when he passed. And again, the children, especially the children, because I've never, like me growing up, we've heard of famous people passing all the time. I've never been upset about somebody like to that extent to where I'm, you know what I mean, how these kids were in my childhood life that from somebody famous ever. That didn't happen until my adult life when Michael Jackson died, and then more recently, I took it even harder when I didn't cry about it. I almost did when DMX passed. But that's just because the music, just growing up in your childhood, listening to that music and all that stuff.
Yep.
And with these kids seeing, again, with the Black Panther and all those movies, that movie and just watching the Avengers and all that, and then there's like, boom. Like when any of these people go, it's going to be rough for a lot of fucking people just because of these films here.
Agreed.
And it's going to, a lot of families, because again, these are the ultimate family films. Hands down, these are probably the best family films ever made.
It's funny, you were talking about that earlier, and these are movies that, when you brought that up about the ultimate family film and stuff, these are movies that literally make me now, like, because we can lose in the moment while we're watching movies. We can have the reactions that are needed or whatnot, or that it makes us have, but we're not talking about them when we're watching a movie. We're too busy engaged in the movie, and plus it's kind of disrespectful to be talking about certain things as the movie's going on and stuff, especially if you're in a theater setting. But like, these are the movies that, especially after the fact, you're watching them, and it makes me have certain internal conversations about the certain things, and like we said, the moralities, the compass, all these different things, the values of the movies, right? The core of these movies, because at the end of the day, these are aesthetically pleasing, directed, character building stories. You know what I mean? That we're getting out of this, that can help, teach and lead other kids down, and other people, and fuck kids, even us. Like, sometimes we need reminders as well to be like, yo, the best self that you are is not on the way you moving right now. Like, pay attention. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta be like, yo, what would Cap do? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah,
I agree.
So this is super dope that we have these conversations, and this is where, like, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, this whole shit makes me look at movies in certain different ways and actually, like, reflect more about them.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. it really hurts my feelings too when you have people like Martin Scorsese and saying that these aren't real movies and stuff like that. It's like, are you kidding me right now? It's like you're saying this about some of the movies that were the highest grossing. Like, there's a good amount of Marvel movies in the top 10 most grossing movies of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the top one of your movies? What number does that come in at?
It's just jealousy when it comes to that, because again, like I said, it's the ultimate family film. If you can get a household to watch these films, that's saying something. And not only that, but these
generations of a household, not just
yes. Let's even bring it to the next thing. Let's say ethnicities, race, all that. Like this is the ultimate family film. These are the ultimate family films, because we have those films to where, like, you know, I'll just say Spanish films that were maybe some Spanish films that you've seen that I've never seen or heard of. Maybe more some Caucasian films that, you know, you've seen that we've never heard of, and maybe more black that I've seen that maybe you guys have never heard of. But this is just like, it's not black, white. It's everybody. It's all inclusive. Everybody. I don't care what you are, what your background is. You're gonna enjoy this. You're gonna watch it.
There's something for everybody. Absolutely.
And it all comes back to the great mind of fucking Stan Lee and his partner there when they started these comics back in the fucking
Kirby
40s, 50s. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, they were so far ahead of their time. They got so much ridicule for it, and all the undertones and all the shit of equality and race and all this stuff that they played it out in such a way to be accepted in so many different aspects, and even in some aspects where it was subliminal and it wasn't right in the face of what was going on, that hey, we're targeting these issues that are occurring. They were just so entertaining and such great stories that it's not until later on in life that you're looking back at certain things and you're like, oh shit, that was about that, or damn, that was because when I was first reading X-Men and all that shit, even though like it obviously it said, hey, but you know, the differences of human, or you know, humans versus mutants and all that shit, you're not a kid going, damn, that's black versus white, damn, that's, you know what I mean, or you know, any type of bigotry or anything like that, you know what I mean, let alone that you know the word bigotry when you're that young reading these or anything like that. But it's like, fuck, like damn, especially now you're like, man. And then you look at all these different people of coming together, all these different aspects, and we got aliens, we got fucking godlike people, we have genetically, scientifically created people, we have people of technology, we got, you know, radiated people with fucking the Hulk, and you know, radioactive being Spider-Man, you know what I mean? It's like, but here we are engaging, we're loving them, and we're learning from them, and it's like, imagine if we did that shit in real life, you know what I mean? Fucking 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Imagine, but then again, if the issues weren't there, these characters may have never even been created.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
I agree with that. But you do raise a good question on why we don't ask ourselves these questions, especially with some of the social, you know, with some of the things that are even going on currently right now.
Yeah.
You know, you really wonder when people are going to realize that we are all the human race and we are all on this planet. We're sharing this area and we're all equal. And no matter what, is it going to take an alien invasion for us to realize this?
I feel, and here's the thing with that though, is I'll go back to it. I mean, the tragic event is 9/11, how everybody was together for those few months, few days, maybe even a year. And after that was like, fuck you. Like, come on.
Yeah.
This is,
well, they weren't exactly, don't get me wrong, because then it was just focused on one specific group.
True.
And it's like, fuck. But then you take it to our modern times here, right? We take it 20 some odd years later, 20 years later, and now we have COVID occur. And what's the first thing we do? We got to point a finger at somebody, and now we're hating on Asians for the first a year or whatnot. Like, when are we just gonna learn that listen? It's human condition, it's natural events, and it's fucking you know, internal battles that we're all struggling as far as how to handle this shit and navigate through the shit called life. And then the other things that are inflicting some of this are all man-made issues and problems, like commerce and money, like fucking, like all these things that divide us instead of it making us come together and work together. You got rich versus poor, you got sick versus healthy, you got the haves versus the have-nots, the people who control what got going on and the people who need the shit that's going on. And then yet everybody can't figure out how to come to the middle line, especially when there's things like, money that comes into effect and greed and fucking. But again, it all comes down to lessons of being that we need to learn in the human condition and understanding ourselves. We all are angry at times. We are all pissed off and bitter. We are all happy and sad. We are all hurt at times. Like, just remember, every time you have that notion or you're dealing with somebody that seems to be displaying us, like, just think about what are they going through right now that's causing this situation and their reaction. What have I gone through that had me be in the same situation where, like, not necessarily right or wrong, just what, because like you said earlier, you're right on both sides, but now there's that conflict, and then we throw in things like religion and beliefs, and they're all going for the same thing. They all want peace. They all want to live free. They all want to practice and preach in the same freedomness and just be able to be embracing of their belief. But yet we can't figure out how not to fucking kill each other over the shit.
No, we over land, over shit, and my whole thing, and I'll say this last thing about it, like the whole
land
thing
in the world that we're fucking up anyway because of our human condition and our greed and our laziness and our fucking need for convenience. Like, it's crazy.
Like, for me, I feel like, just, I'm not saying different countries and shit are crazy, but as far as like having like borders and all that, like, building a wall, it's stupid to me, because at the end of the day, what the fuck? If you want to go somewhere, you should be able to, as long as you're not going there tearing up shit, that's how it should be. Like, how do we as a world, not just as a country, but how do we as a world spend billions and billions of dollars on stuff that can destroy this world, destroy us, but at the same time won't spend those same billions in healing everybody? Like, here, there's more than enough. There's more than enough to where everybody should have a house, just be living comfortably. Honestly, just living comfortably, and just everybody doesn't think like that, which is sad. Like, you know how cool it would be if, like, yo, guys, let's go to fucking Japan right now and stay there for a little while, hang out. Let's learn the culture, learn the language, and let's go somewhere else. But not to take and steal, just to learn. Right. And then when people come do this, like, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. All going all over the place, all over the world. There should be like, what's the point of having weapons? Seriously, what is the point of having weapons?
Like Chuck said, it's going to be.
When you have people in power like we do, then they need to either play the real game of Risk, or look to protect yourself, and that's really what it comes down to. And it's unfortunate that we still have these tensions.
And the powers that be, the ones that have all this beef, aren't the ones that are going and putting their lives on the line.
Nope.
Which is sad. Like, because if it was like that, or like, say, I say this all the time, it's like, wouldn't it be some shit like, say, if all these country leaders, if they were the ones who, no guns, no knives, what if they had to have an MMA fight? There's gonna be a lot less wars and shit going on, because, like, oh shit, wait, I gotta get in there and fight. Like, yeah. And then voting's gonna be way different. Like, yo, Biden, Trump, I'm not putting you in there. I'm voting for fucking John Jones or someone I can actually fight, at least someone goes down.
The Rock.
Love it. There you go. Like, people that can. But what I'm getting at, though, is like, it's just crazy that it takes all that tearing up. I mean, you could look at fucking Iron Man 1. When he went there and seen all that shit happen with his weapons that he was creating, he's like, I want to get out of this. No, fuck, no, we're not doing this shit no more. Why can't the world, not just America, why can't the world do the same shit? Like, wait a minute. We're killing up and tearing up all this shit for what? Honestly, for what? Just to say we have this resource? Just to say we have this resource? Why not just fucking open it all up for everybody? You can still make your money, whatever, but let's just stop tearing everything up. It's not helping anything at all. People say we learn from history. What the fuck are we learning? Because we're doing the same shit over and over.
Over and over, and hide it better and better every time we try.
Yep.
They tell us, you gotta learn history so it doesn't repeat itself. Well, then what the fuck is it doing? Since the first war started, none have ended.
Let me.
I agree.
How about we forget history? Because then that's all we know is the shit that we did wrong previously, and we don't move forward from it. We just keep repeating that shit. Fuck everything else that happened. Leave it be. Let's let go of the bullshit and the baggage, and let's move forward with an embrace.
A clean slate. Give everybody the equal footing, give everybody the equal opportunities, and go from there, and just keep it progressing. And I bet you the world will be like, for those of you believe in God, and I believe in God, these motherfuckers finally get it. Guess what? Everybody can live forever. But until then, until these stupid motherfuckers don't get it, they keep fucking up. We're going to have losses, innocent and guilty. Everybody's going to die eventually. It's like,
And that's
So
the
they-
sad.
Not only that, I mean, it's also leaving our planet not being like, not maybe in our lifetime, but what they're doing is leaving our planet uninhabitable, and that's
Yeah.
why they start
Mhm.
these like, space travel and trying to figure out how to colonize
Yep.
different planets and everything,
We
because they know that not only is it the wars and the pollution and the industries and the manufacturing that are going on, it's killing this living thing of
Yep.
a planet.
which
Yeah.
which which though has its methods and has its ways of cleansing itself and rebuilding itself. There's no
Mhm.
way to
Mhm.
stop it. Whether we adapt and we can survive or not, it doesn't matter. We can blow this whole shit up. It may take fucking more than any other lifetimes of a human to get back or be better than it was, but it will survive. It will keep going and it will fucking redevelop itself, and there will be new inhabitants and creatures on this planet. There will be new situations occurring. Like it's so crazy that we consume more than we consume in order to waste. We consume more on this planet to make shit for us to consume that gets wasted than
Mhm.
what we even need if we just made it, used it, spread it out, and shared it with everybody. World hunger would not be a thing, but yet we throw fucking like I don't know how many trillions of pounds of food away because it either goes bad in our fridge or in a warehouse because they didn't get it out fast enough or we didn't end up eating it. But yet we have the notion to buy it. It's manufactured, it's shipped, it's cost, but yet we don't even get to use it. We bought more than we needed and then we throw out half of it, or we cook so much that it gets put in the fridge, you get leftovers, or then it gets moldy if you don't eat it, so it gets thrown out anyway. I mean, the way we mine resources for our convenience, like batteries and plastics and electricity and metals, yes, it's cool to have all of this stuff, and everybody can essentially, but then you add the price tag to it that then not everybody can afford it and can't
Mhm.
get their hands on it, so then you have to end up wasting it and throwing it away or figuring out something else to do with the shit and making something else to now fill that void that you can try to make money off of and capitalize on. But then now you got to go back and get more of the shit because demand's higher, which then is hurting the like it's a vicious fucking cycle
Yeah,
and
no,
it's a
it is.
revolving door and it's pointless to the point
You,
that
you,
it's annoying.
you know when things will change is when kindness is looked at as a strength as a whole by everybody instead of a weakness. Until then, shit's because I'm not even trying to be funny,
Very
but
true.
kindness overall is looked at as a weakness. Like, oh, they're being nice.
Very true.
Yeah, now we
Mhm.
can
It's,
fuck them.
it's
We
either
can take advantage of them. Let's
it's either
manipulate them. Let's play with them.
it's either looked at as a weakness or it's looked at as like, are they manipulating us? Like, no, this is just a nice person. This is how these people. This is how we should be. It's just
And it's
treating each
sad.
other.
It's sad we don't know how to do that no more. Like we rather speculate and assume on the notion of why is this occurring than just embracing that it occurred and being happy that it did.
Mhm.
And then going, you know what? That was really nice and that felt really good. Let me help this dude next to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He helped me, let me
Pay it
help
forward.
him. Exactly.
and I could speak for myself personally just by changing. I mean, of course, you grow as a person, get older, and from your I'll say your teen years, your dickhead years, to finally becoming an adult, and you're just like just by the way you speak with people and treat people, your life changes. You're like your life changes for the better just by being as corny as it sounds, just by being a nicer person. I'm not saying you're not working hard and doing other shit, but just your personality, just getting that negative energy and thoughts out of you, it helps a fucking
Yep.
ton. So I'm like, just imagine if everybody did that. If everybody was
Oh.
just like, for
But-
just imagine how if everybody did it for a week. Everybody, I mean, the whole world being nice to everybody
It
for a
takes
week.
2 weeks to change habits and change a mindset if you continuously give yourself the things that is reinforcing to it. 2 weeks, whether it's you working out, whether it's you eating right, whether it's you changing your mindset to be more positive. 2 weeks of actual dedication and disciplining yourself. But then it's the work after to maintain that people fall off. It's real easy for the holidays to come around and everybody feel joyous and want to be one and embrace and go buy presents
Yep,
and give
that's
away
true.
and be charitable. But then as soon as that shit's done, those 2 weeks, that month is over, everybody's right back to the bitter assholes because they got to get to work. They got to do this. They got to do that. They got screwed over on this. This person didn't help them with this. So now I'm going to be an asshole instead of reciprocating, instead of being like, you know what? That was just a moment. Even if like somebody was like, nah, not today. Okay, they said no today. A week from now, they might say yes, or you might need them again, or they might need you. And now you're going to be like, well, since they said no, I'm going to say no. You don't even know what the
There's no growth.
circumstances were that played into the role of them saying no at that point. Maybe they were making sure that, you know what, I gotta be good myself. I can't right now because then that takes away from me. Because then now I'm gonna be hurt. And I know there's nobody here to help me now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't be mad about that situation. Just be like, all right, cool, it is what it is. That person comes to you and is like, yo, I really need you. If you're in a position to be like, all right, fine, what you need? Let me help you. Don't just do it out of spite because of some shit that happened a week ago, or a couple months ago when you fucking needed $5 and I didn't have it. I said no, and you like, well, that's fucked up. No, I didn't have it.
Yeah.
I didn't have
it. People don't look at stuff like that, though. People don't look at stuff like that. Like, hey, they don't got it. That's fine. I'll get it.
Well, I think a lot of it also has to do with, social media and a certain, distractions and everything.
Yeah.
It narrows everything down. It's like, my mom said best, and she's someone that doesn't get into this technology. It's like the more we're connected, the further we grow apart.
Yep. And that's the shit that sucks, because the other problem with that is it's not even our choice. We have these companies like Meta and Facebook, Google, that are collecting this data on us, and because we clicked this or didn't like this, and now it's showing us and forcing us to see the same repetitive shit, the same types of shit. And like you said, it narrows us and focuses us. You know what I mean? If we see...
Well, it also narrows us... Yeah. It narrows us in the fact, too, that we have an individual world.
Guess what? Now you're getting Ukraine advertisements. You're getting the news feeds, which that's all depressing. That's all fucking angry. And I'm not saying we need to ignore it. I'm just saying understand that the reason why you're constantly feeling in that notion, in that space, is because these technologies are forcing you to be exposed to it every day. Every 2 seconds you're scrolling because of the shit it sees and hears that you're doing. Yet you probably would have looked at that, watched the news that night, but then that would have been it. You would have went back to looking at whatever for your kids, or recipes, or this, that, or the third, or getting back into your reinforcement or your Zen or your meditation, instead of getting fed all this shit. The Karens of the internet and the fucking keyboard fucking warriors that always got something negative to say. And now you're getting angry at that. And now you just keep seeing more shit, and then you're going down these comments and you're watching them go back and forth. It's compounding, bro. You know how interest is. It's the same shit with people's mentalities and fucking, relationships. It's like, if you constantly keep yourself in that same area, in that same scope, what are you going to expect? You're going to expect to fucking be happy? No, all you're doing is eating fucking sour shit. You're just eating rotten fruit every day.
And that leads us to the mentality of, I'm going to worry about me and only me. I'm going, we live in a world that no one else is going to look out for me. I'm going to have to only look out for myself. That's the only person that matters. And that's what it comes down to, that, all of this stuff funnels us into that, mind frame of, you can only watch your own. You can only watch your own back. You can only take care of you. This is my world, and everyone else is living in it. And that's the unfortunate thing of the mentality, because if we all had the mentality, like we were saying, is that, you're looking at the bigger picture and everyone being equal and everyone needing each other to succeed, all of that becomes contradictory and sets us all back.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
You're right.
Oh God, this shit sucks. All right, we gotta get going on some of this stuff here real quick. I gotta step away for 2 seconds. Get ready. Get your brains together here. It's that time, Sturdy. It's time for the results on this one here. The Avengers. I mean, this one dug out some, and it seems like we always have these deeper conversations that are coming out of this movies, but this one really. I mean, this is our longest episode. It's gonna be probably 2.5 hours. So.
Yeah,
super stoked for that. I really hope people watch this, because this is good content. This is good stuff
I do too.
To reinforce and make people understand and realize, it's one thing to say something nice or realize, you know what, I gotta be better. But then it's another thing to be like, yo, I gotta be better. And there's only one way you're gonna be better. You have to be better. You have to do the work. You have to be the person who's taking those steps forward. I'll be right back.
He's not going to be right back. Oh man!
I'm guessing he has to,
But this right here is why, these type of conversations that just randomly pop up, is why I love podcasting so much. I have my own show and I'm a part of other shows, and it's because it's for example, like I have my horror show, and we'll have conversations about the movie, and then it'll just jump into sometimes some silly stuff like we did with this one. But then you get into like the meat and potatoes out of nowhere, just like what the fuck, and then you get back into
Yeah.
the movie, and it's just all over. And I just
You
that,
find yourself right back around and
yep.
talking about the same. Yep.
And people are like, how
Yep.
the hell did this connect with the movie? And you're like, this is how, like this is what the movie's really showing you, but
Mm-hmm.
you're not really,
Mm-hmm.
And it's
And like we just said, if we all had a moral compass more like superheroes, we wouldn't be dealing with this bullshit.
yeah, it really wouldn't be.
No.
It really wouldn't be.
But we live in reality, and we have to adapt and adjust and try our best to try to project the best positive thing that we can, and help as many as we can, and know that we are all here together. This is the
Mhm.
only planet we got. This is the only land that we got. This is the only people that will live here. And if we want to destroy ourselves, then we're going to destroy everything. But if we want to help each other, we can make this flourish.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. It's honestly like, again, just from growing up, which we've all been there, it's so much easier to be like positive in a good mood than negative, because that shit's just dragging. That shit's just
I know.
like it's like a
Be
weight.
stewing for the stove.
I agree.
It's been stewing for a while.
We
What'd I miss?
were just reflecting on exactly
Reflecting on the
what we were just
conversation.
talking about.
Yeah,
And how we can make things better.
I was just telling him, I was like, how much I enjoy podcasting, which I tell you this a lot, Chris, how much I enjoy podcasting, where I always wanted you to start a show, and me and you started kicking it, really.
Yep.
Because I was like, you get so much more of conversations of randomness from just because what we do, reviewing movies, just reviewing movies or video game, whatever the case may be, and conversations go all over the place, and you're just like, holy shit.
But that's the point of these as well, right? People, they're telling a story. They want people's inflictions and their reactions. There's reasons behind these stories, right? And that's what they're meant to do. They're meant to invoke thought and conversation. And if we're not conversating, how the fuck do we group together? How do we connect? How do we? That's the point of this. That's the whole point of these movies in general. They're not just meant to be consumed and sat back and forgotten about.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all.
Mm-mm.
No, they're meant for these type of conversations, or I won't even say just with the conversations we had, whatever conversations people can bring, whatever they can pull from it and bring from it, because others that are reviewing these same films, they're going to say something, they could say something completely different, but we could all have that. We could all have that same you know what I mean? We could all review these films together. Like say there was 3 other people that's just like us reviewing this same film at the same exact time, but their conversation's a little bit different.
Yep.
I bet you we can connect with them and agree on a lot of the same shit. Like, yes, yes. And oh wow, this is what you got from that. This is what you pulled.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the movie aspect of this is the reality you pulled from this shit. Like, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'd love to get like one person who's always like the antagonist of the group, you know what I mean? But it's hard, especially with these movies. Like we definitely have different outlooks about certain things, and yes, we agree and we point out certain things that are common or whatnot. But we also still all point out different aspects or display certain thought process behind it. So that's the dope part about it, because we all come from different places, we all do different things, and we all act differently in our everyday lives. But yeah, at the same time, look, we find a common ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, you're right in some regards, and you're right to you and people who get your perspective and agree with you, and we're right with the people who get our perspective and agree with us. So
exactly,
that's the thing. Just remember, who cares? Even if you disagree, just stop shooting at each other. Like,
Yep.
All right, guys.
That's all life is. Life is all about perspective, and it's the information that you take in that builds your perspective. And even though I might disagree with somebody and their perspective on a situation or an event or whatever it may be, I respect the fact that they have an opinion, they have a perspective, because I have one. And it's like, I don't want them to judge me for mine. I'm not going to judge you for yours. You have every right for yours. I have every right for mine. And it really just comes down to perspective.
Very true. Very true.
It. Gentlemen, results. Who wants to go first? Actually, Sturdy, you go first, since Chuck started us off on the beginning of the show with initials.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
9? Okay.
Easy 9 for me. Yeah, hell yeah.
I mean, we talked about so much in this movie. We really
I know.
did.
I know. But yeah, a 9.
9 all day, huh?
Yes, sir.
Chucky,
yes, sir.
what you got?
So we're rating this from 1 to 10 based upon the Avengers movie. I'd give it, and this is being compared to the other ones.
Just
this movie in general by itself.
Just this movie in general by itself.
Yeah.
I would probably give it I give it a 9.2.
Okay. Fucking Chuck.
A 9.2.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. It's a 9. It's a 9. It's. I'm one of those people that I it's very hard. Like it's hard to please me to the point that I give something a perfect score. So I'm hoping I can dig it out. I'm hoping one of these conversations does it for me on one of these movies. But this is as close as it gets with them. There's definitely other movies that pulled me in and I was engaged with more coming later, which I'm super excited to talk about and get into with you guys on the Midnight Matinee. But definitely this is a very, very strong 9. You know what? I might even say this is a 9.5. I'll give it a 9.5.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm giving it a half off is honestly just the only thing I could find wrong with this movie, because there aren't holes, there's no bad acting, there aren't situations that irked or annoyed me. I chuckled and laughed at times. I got serious with them at the same time. I felt the fucking heartbreak of Coulson dying. The only gripe was the costuming, and that's why it's not getting a 10 from me on this one, because some of the costumes with Cap, with Thor, they just looked a little bit too, they tried too hard. But other than that, this is as close to a perfect movie, a story tell as you can get, and it's one of the biggest in our generation and biggest culminations and like build-ups that I've ever seen or ever thought I could actually see, especially on the big screen.
Yeah, that was the first experience of the big, culmination of a lot of superheroes at one time.
Like this is the shit that we dream about, that we've always said even as kids. Yo, imagine, man, if all of a sudden they like made a movie and it had all of the like, you know what I mean? And it's like and then from outer space comes like it's like hits all the boxes for an imagination of like
Yo, last thing I'm gonna say real quick too is I'm almost jealous of the kids that get to grow up with these movies. Like, yes, we got to see the cartoons on this shit, but just imagine being a kid and then your parents are into these to where like every time these come out, you're going to see these movies. And then you're like 10, 12, 15 years old having these conversations with your friends, especially over the fucking summer. These assholes get to have the whole fucking summer off, which I'm jealous about, and get to watch these movies all day and night if they want to and talk about them, have all and pretend they're Avengers fighting in the fucking back. All right, enough.
Yeah, they're really lucky in the fact that when I was growing up, I still remember watching the TV little mini series of Lou Ferrigno as incredible as the Incredible Hulk, and having the guy from Coach being Thor. Like, that was our quality, and I won't change that for the world, because that helped build my love for the characters. But what they get now, they are totally spoiled.
Oh yeah, we had the shitty 70s Spider-Man live action. We had fucking Wonder Woman spinning around to transform.
They didn't have to go through the rough stuff at all.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We had shitty green screen or gray screen fucking Superman. We had Batman climbing a ropes, and then they turned the fucking film sideways as him scaling a building. You know, pounds
with people popping their heads out of the window.
Like,
could you imagine being that person that was living in the apartment complex and just being like, "Oh, hi, Batman."
Ma'am, go back inside. There's an evildoer on your roof. Like, oh, okay.
Don't mind the little boy behind me. The rope also.
There's nothing wrong with our relationship.
Yeah, right?
Holy shit.
Oh, this is so funny. Yeah, but like, I love this shit, man. I really do. And so far, this is my favorite episode of the Midnight Matinee. Like, the story, the conversation got so deep. We touched on so many things. We discuss and tag into certain things that are coming, certain things that occurred. Like, and I think that's what's supposed to happen, right? That was their whole game plan. Because this is that one point where it all changes and it shows, and it's gonna evolve from here on out. And then we get other dynamics of Guardians of the Galaxy coming in and all the other stuff that happens. And then, like I said, we get Shang-Chi with the passing. We get Spider-Man looped in and all this stuff. So I'm really excited now to keep going from here, because this is where, to me, the off to the races. This is the supercharged spot right here. This is where shit really starts to get exciting and stay exciting from here on out. Not that they weren't before, but this
No, I get
is
you. This is the one where it's just like, okay, now we're going.
now it's full steam ahead. There's no stopping this train. We got bigger picture. We got bigger fucking evil that's coming. We got the notion of, you know, world events occurring in which they have to work together to try to solve and figure out. You get the whole notion from Tony and the next one's coming of how much of that weight he bears with his dreams, his images, and like him knowing that, hey, I have a purpose, we have a purpose, I need to figure out some things with, you know, Ultron coming and stuff like that when you see that. So they do a really great job at humanizing things and connecting you with the human condition and, like, you know, shit that most people could be battling on a daily basis. You know, it may not be in the same grand scope of, you know, world collapse or, you know, evil entities from space coming that we have to work together to foil, but it's still, people go through this shit even on, you know, I say minuscule because, again, if we're looking at things the way it is, our everyday lives are not big picture things because we're so fine tuned into the machine and having to work and constantly keep up to pace and do things and pay bills and do all this shit instead of having the experiences and being able to focus on shit like this. But then again, the time and space we're at now, we have on part of the other side of the world shit that is like this that's occurring, and that's very real to them, and it's their everyday life. Like, you can't drive without hearing a siren or, hey, bomb raid, or, you know what I mean? So it's real.
Worrying about a hospital being bombed.
Right, it's real horrible. And it's out there. It's just that we're so distracted from things that, you know, stuff like this really helps you kind of regroup to.
Well, the other thing is too, and going back into what we were just saying a little bit, is that, you know, you have those mentalities that are like, you know, looking at gas prices and being like, oh, I can't believe this. I need to, you know, get, you know, whatever it is. They're bitching about the gas prices and the fact that, you know, you're bitching about the gas prices while this stuff is going on. You know, we made sacrifices to try to help as much as we can at this point, at least. I mean, I'm sure there's still more that we can do. There's definitely more that we can do in this situation with the Ukraine. But for us to, you know, take a little bit of a hit and people bitching about it, that's the selfishness that's going on right now.
The selfishness and entitlement.
How is this affecting me? You know, and that's not how we should be looking at this. We should be looking at it as, what is being challenged here? Right. What is being taken away from these people? That is the bigger issue and the bigger reason for why we're doing what we're doing. Not, why is this gas price affecting me because I need to drive to, you know, to the bar to hang out with my friends.
Yep. You know, it's
you have the luxury of going to the bar.
Yeah, it's understandable to acknowledge the fact that it's causing you to have a little bit less of your resource of money because it's costing more to travel. But at the same time, let's not forget that if this shit comes down to it and it comes to our fucking shores, all of this can change.
Oh, fuck you.
Like, you won't even have an option to bitch about it because guess what? Somebody hears you bitching about it, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, there's big picture, people. Big picture. The world is changing. The world is changing. If your world doesn't change and you don't adapt and you don't move with it, or you're against trying to save and keep things as close to normal as we can, doing what we gotta do, there's a problem. And especially if you're not going to be, like, I'll be the first one to say it, like, unless the shit comes to my front door, I'm not signing up to go deal with this and go do this. Nah. But that doesn't mean that I'm a fucking asshole and I'm a piece of shit. But know one thing, when shit comes to my door and I see my neighbors and I see my family and I see all this other shit happening, I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be like, yo, what do you need? What's happening? Let's figure this out. Like, safe. Let's figure out safe, and let's figure out how to stay safe. But I'm not sitting here bitching and moaning about, well, this sucks, I gotta do this. I'm praising God that I got people around me that are helping me and supporting me and still allowing me to fucking get up every day, that electricity's still coming to the house, that there's even a computer for me to be able to do this, that there's people I can even talk to still, that there's still some connection and shit. Like, there's just so much more. People just really need to put things in perspective and realize these luxuries and these common conveniences, they're fucking meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
Meaningless. Fucking A.
I agree.
I fucking hate people. Anyway. Boys! I would say that was a good session.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that I was a part of this. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no doubt. You're gonna be on a couple more. You're gonna be a couple
Yeah.
more. You might be on even a couple more than that. I gotta finish
Okay.
filling out some of my schedule and stuff. I know you say you're down for any
I'm
of them.
down.
I do
Yep.
appreciate you both moving the day and time from yesterday to today. So thank you.
Yeah.
No problem.
Everybody who's watching, it's the Worst Damn Gamer. I appreciate. Sorry for it being late and posting. This is probably gonna go up tomorrow, which is Monday. It was supposed to be up yesterday. Had a birthday, had some family shit, so it is what it is. I do apologize. I will try to stick to
Some
my schedule.
Nerf fighting.
Yeah, I almost got my eye taken out, okay? This is why I can't go to war.
No.
I
A
can't
Nerf
survive
war.
a Nerf war. You want me to go to a real war? I'm not the guy. I'm just not.
Mhm.
I can talk to you, though. I can be here for you. I can help
There you
you. I can calm you.
Yep.
You know,
There you
that's my role in this life right now.
He's a
I can
good person for
entertain
that.
you. I can
I'm
make
with
you
you.
laugh if need be. You know what I mean? I'll even fall for you to make you laugh if I have to. I do what I can for you.
Physical comedy.
That's
There
it.
you go.
You
There you
got no
go.
problems. We got Sir Sturdy over here to my left. You can catch him Tuesdays and Thursdays on Horror with Sir Sturdy. I'm usually a part of that as well. So if you're enjoying the content, if you're enjoying the flow, if you like the mindset and the mentalities, you want to see us discuss and chop up some of the best and fucking most horrible horror movies there are, you can catch it there Tuesdays and
I'm right up
Thursdays.
here.
If you're a
Yeah,
content
just-
creator, check us out on the Z Network. It's a network for creators by creators. We're starting to build it out even more. Sturdy's got a couple things in the works. I got a couple people that I'm talking to, so I'm trying to see if we can build this thing. Remember to spread the word as well. If you want to be engaged, you want a community who's going to help you and help you spread the word and can even help you grow and learn new tactics and get your shit going, the Z Network's going to be the
The
place
network is
for
the
you.
spot.
Absolutely. We got Charles, our boy, down. He's doing his thing from the office spaces. We all got roles to play. He's helping out every day that he can in the big machine, and that's fine. I'm helping out here with movie reviews. I'm keeping the kids occupied with my gaming shit. So if you're down for that, if you're good for conversation, if you want to engage, hit the comments, hit the likes, get the notification bells. Follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm everywhere.
Me too.
You will not regret it.
You are my life at this point, besides my family, of course, but you guys are my life. Guys, I am humbled by your presence and conversation, so thank you so much. I can be seen
you.
Saturday nights here. Charles is going to be a common guest. Sturdy is going to be on pretty much every single one of these because he asked from the get-go.
I did.
And I'm see, the other thing I'm doing too is I'm helping him continue to build his relationship with his wife. He's watching these movies with his wife. Call me
Really?
Matchmaker
Good
Chris.
moves. Good moves.
I'm not giving him that credit because I tell him about all the times that she's being late. Like today, I was like, she's like, I thought you were recording. I was like, your freaking primo was late again. She was like, she just went out on rant. She's like, it's embarrassing. He needs to cut it out. He's embarrassing us Puerto Rican.
How you figure? We're late to everything. You're supposed to be later than I am, first of all.
She wants you to be the model Puerto Rican. That's all. She wants you to be Captain Puerto Rico.
So then I'm doing perfect.
No, but you got,
I show up exactly on time.
not Latin time.
When I show up, it's on time.
That's not how this goes.
Chuck, you already know. I was late every goddamn day of my work life.
Oh my gosh.
You want me here at this time? Okay.
But he was putting a smile on every single person's face that walked in that door.
I bust my ass. I do my thing. I'll stay late if I have to. I showed up right when I was supposed to, though.
This guy.
Mhm.
Just because it's not the time you told me, it was when I was supposed to show up.
No, you told me
Yep.
6:30. You told me a time.
I showed up at 6:20. What do you mean? I started talking to you at 6:08.
Oh shit. You
How
know
was
what
I
mean.
late again tonight? First of all. Anyway.
We'll get to it.
I was a day late, maybe, but I also told y'all earlier that I wasn't making it, so whatever.
That is a good thing you did tell us.
Yeah, you
And
know.
it was a great show.
Yes, it was.
See, things
It was.
happen in the right time. Who knows what the conversation would have been yesterday? It may have been completely different.
True.
This is the conversation that
Right.
needed to be had. How many lives were saved because I didn't do this yesterday? How
I don't
many
know.
lives are saved today because this is coming out tomorrow and somebody's going to hear the positivity in this message or see it? They're
We
going
only
through
need
a
one.
rough spot from
We
some
only
shit
need
that
one.
happened on the weekend. Exactly.
That's a good thing. That's actually one thing that keeps me pushing, which I do love podcasting. Like, it gives you that little more thing, especially with which I told you before, the whole pandemic thing, when people were like, "Thank you for having me on your show," especially during these times, because it's that getaway for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then you get back to reality. Yeah,
And if you get someone thought provoking into something that you had said and that changes their mind about something, even
Exactly.
just one person, you're
Mhm.
helping the cause and you're helping the people, realize a bigger picture.
Even just make them
That's
laugh
all I
for a
hope.
little bit.
Yeah. A relief, an escape from reality.
Laughter's the best medicine. It's the food for the soul, man. And then behind the messages and the morals of this shit, like if we pull this out and they engage with that and they find some type of relation to a situation in their life that whether they
Mhm.
were down about or they were beside themselves about, maybe this perspective or this, talk about it made them go, you know what? Fuck.
Or it could be, if these idiots can do it, I can. Hey, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's
I'm
gonna
cool
make
with
you
that too.
a
Yeah.
positive push, you go ahead and you do it.
That's one of the biggest things that people need to realize is that we all have a voice, and even though our voices may be saying different things, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's okay for you to say what you want to say and say what you got to say. Just remember, sometimes it's about how you say it, one, and two, what you're doing with what you say.
Yeah.
So don't be damaging in what you're saying. Even if you're going to say something in an asshole way, just make sure you're doing it as respectful as you can so that it gets the point across, but you're not fucking somebody up. Like, because
true.
you can do some damage with your words. Just remember that.
That's
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that.
Nope. And I say some asshole shit sometimes, but I'm always smiling when I say it, and people usually are like, "What the fuck, man?" Like,
I do a lot. But you know what it is? What it's different because like the way we associate with each other, Chris, it's different because it's never disrespect, just jokes. When it comes to that kind of stuff, where it sounds kind of assholey, especially when we're around live, like, do these guys even like each other? Like, this is how we talk to each other.
To most people, like half the time, the conversations between men and bros is just like, what the fuck is wrong with them? Did he just say, yeah, but you need to understand the context and the relationship. If you don't get it, don't assume that because you think it's fucked up, that we think it's fucked up.
Exactly. Because at the same time, like, yo, what? Someone's doing what to who? Yeah, we'll be right around the corner. Oh, he needs a coat. He needs something. I got him. He's an asshole, but I'm still gonna feed him. Like,
and you always have a choice. If you don't agree with the situation or something that we said, either skip over it or wait for the conversation to change or back out and come back and try again another time. But don't sit here being mad and your whole life is fucked up right now because we said something that irked you or rubbed you the wrong way. I apologize in advance, but I'm not apologizing because I said what I said. I'm apologizing that you have the reaction that you're having and it's causing you to not want to watch us again. That's not the point behind it. Yeah, no, not at all. Just like the comedians. Comedians face the same thing. They can tell jokes all day. As long as you're laughing, everything's fine and dandy. But the second you stop laughing and everybody else is laughing, the world comes to pieces. Just move on with it. Just move on with it.
I agree.
Gentlemen, it's 2.5 hours. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I'm ready.
It's the worst damn gamer ever. Reminding you sometimes in order to be the best, you gotta be the worst. And that's what I'm doing here for you. Peace.
Peace.